Shalom, y'all. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahuwah, the creator of heaven and earth, and his only begotten son, Yahusha, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I'm going to try to tell you about the biblical calendar and how to understand it without Enoch. Just with the scripture. You don't need the book of Enoch. I don't recommend that book. You should stay away from it. It's a false book. Even the book about the luminaries and the Enoch calendar, all that is false. The Bible tell you how many days is in a month, how many months is in a year. But let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start with Genesis. Genesis 1:14. And Yahuwah said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." So that's the job of the sun, the moon, and the stars. The sun counts the days. The moon counts the months. And the stars let you know what time of year it is if you know how to recognize when the constellations move. The sky takes a complete year for the constellations to move in a circle around the earth, And in the beginning of the year, the Big Dipper is pointed one way. In the middle of the year, it's pointed the opposite way. And then when it points back to the way where you first saw it, it's been a year. Or you could just count the moons, but sometimes the moon fall behind and there is a 13th month. I have seen it myself. I've been watching the sky for over 5 years, so I can personally testify to that. That's why sometimes Passover is in March and sometimes Passover is in April, because you have to wait for the equinox. And if the full moon comes before the equinox, you can't count that month as the first month of the year, or you're going to be off. You got to wait until the new moon, where the full moon happens after the equinox. The equinox is always around March 20th. So, concerning Genesis 1:14, like I said, forgive me. So, the sun rules the day and the moon rules the night. You can't have a day at night. It's called the Sabbath day. It's not called the Sabbath night. So that lunar Sabbath doctrine, that's off. That's off. It's completely wrong. The scripture says Scripture says in Genesis 1:16, and Yahuwah made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So you can't count the day with the moon. That's off, because he separated the day from the night. So you can't count days using the moon. The sun tells you what day it is because you see the sun rise every day. You're not going to see the moon every night, because it moves. You could count it for like the first 2 weeks, wherever you at, and then it's gonna move and it's gonna go somewhere else. And you're not gonna see it for like a day. So you can't use the moon to count the night. You can't use the moon to count the day. So the sun counts the days. It's 30 days in every month. Let's get that. So Genesis 7:11. Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. That's verse 12. Forgive me. All right, so the flood started in the second month on the 17th day of the month. Now, when you go to Genesis chapter 8, in verse 4, it says, and the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. And verse 3 says, and the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days were the waters abated. So it was 150 days from the second month on the 17th day to the 7th month on the 17th day. So in order for it to be 150 months, 150 days, Salakia, every month had to have 30 days in it. Now that right there contradicts the Enoch calendar. If you know anything about the Enoch calendar, every day on the Enoch calendar ain't 30 days. Even when you read the part about the sun and when you read the part about the moon. So it don't fit that right there. So that's a cut to Enoch. But anyway, that ain't what this video about. So every month got 30 days in it. If you read from Genesis 7:11 all the way to Genesis 8, chapter 4, you'll get the understanding that the 150 days divided by 30, that's 5 months. From the second month to the 7th month, that's 5 months. So if you divide that 150 days by 5, you get 30. So that's how you tell how many days is in a month. It's right there in the book. You don't need the book of Enoch. So from the second month on the 17th day to the 7th month on the 17th day was 150 days. That's 30 days per month. It's simple. And you go to Genesis 8:22, it tells you the different seasons. Genesis 8:22, while the earth remained, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So there you have it. Another one. Well, let's go to Esther, so you can see how many months in a year. So Esther 2, verse 12. Now when every maid's turn was to come to go into King Ahasuerus, After that, she had been 12 months, according to the manner of women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors and with other things for the purifying of the women. So that's 6 months and 6 months. That's a year. You'll never read about the 13th day, 13th month in the Bible. I mean, some people speculated that it talk about it in the book of Enoch, but I ain't deciphered it, you know. But there's 12 regular months in a year. It's flat out. It's plain upon tables. When you compare Esther 2 verse 12 to Genesis 7:11 through 8 verse 4. It's 12 months in a year, 30 days in every month. You do not need the book of Enoch to calculate the year. And once you understand that, once you find new moon, just mark it on your phone the next 30 days. You know, count 30 days from one new moon, and that next day after that, that's new moon. It's gonna be there. You know, they don't ever not do what they commanded to do. It's in the book. So the last one we could go over is Sirach, also called Ecclesiasticus. It's the one people be twisting, you know. They be twisting it, playing Twister. Just Sirach 43. We're going to start with 6. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreased in her perfection. So that's letting you know that the moon tells you the feast days and the new moon and the month. Now, when it says a light that decreased in her perfection, it's talking about after the full moon, the moon wanes. Now, some people are going to twist that verse into saying full moon is new moon. That's utter madness right there. That's folly. You're going to get lost in time with that. Stay away from that doctrine, man. Everything new starts small. A huge tree ain't called a new tree. It got to sprout first from something small. A full-grown adult ain't a baby. It got to start small first, from an egg and an embryo, then it grow. Everything Yahuwah makes grows from small to big. The mustard seed, the smallest seed, grows to the biggest of all the seeds. When the sun rises, you see the little bit of light first, and then you see the whole thing. The moon is the same way. You see the little sliver of light, and then you see the full moon. And then it decreases after it's a perfect circle called the full moon. That's what verse 7 means. Verse 8, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So that's letting you know that the moon grows then it turns full, and then it gets small. That's why it says the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. So first you see the new moon, the little slither of light. Then it gets bigger. Then like on day 7, day 8, you see a half a moon. Then on the 14th and 15th day, you see a full moon. Or the 14th day is almost a full moon, and the 15th day is the full moon. 16th day is going to start getting smaller. It's going to start waning. That's how you know you on time. The last day of the month, they call a black moon. You ain't gonna see it. If you get up early in the morning though, and you look where the sunrise, you're gonna see the last slither of the moon. It looked just like the new moon. It's just on the other side. It just show on the other side. The last piece of light that wanes, you can see it early in the morning, before the sun come up, or at the same time when the sun rises. And then that day, you ain't gonna see the moon. It's gonna be that's black moon. That's the last day. And then it start over. The day that the black moon happens, when you don't see no moon that evening, the next day gonna be full moon. The next day gonna be new moon. And that's how you count the month and the days and the years. You know, it's not that hard to count the year. See when the year begins, you just gotta watch. You just gotta pick which constellation that you're familiar with and watch that constellation. Whichever way it's pointing. You know, the Seven Sisters, the Big Dipper, whatever. The sky is a giant clock. It takes 12 months for all the constellations to rotate. And that's how you understand the biblical calendar. You do not need the book of Enoch. That's a false book. It contradicts a lot in the Bible, man. From Genesis to the concept of fallen angels and all of that. But I think I'm gonna close out right there. That's everything. That's all the scriptures you need to understand the biblical calendar. All you need is Genesis. Genesis 1:14 through 16. Genesis 7:11 through chapter 8 verse 4. Genesis 8:22, Esther 2 verse 12, and Sirach 43 6 through 8. That's all you need to study to learn the biblical calendar and to watch the sky. It's pretty easy. That's about it right there. I'm gonna close out. Now I know the truth, and I'm gonna keep learning it for the rest of my life. Y'all be safe. You got any questions or comments? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Support.